Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Elizibar, and this is Reads of the Week, that time of the week where I talk about lots of books real quick, because I read lots of books real quick. Some of these have had full reviews, like Soul Finder over here, this Batman book, or Shadow Warrior. Some of them won't get full reviews, like Images of Shadowhawk. So let's just kind of dig in. Let me clear this stuff off over here. I like to stack books up like that because it makes a nice thumbnail because you get to see, like, oh, look at that, look at that. And I hope that, I'm picking out something that people are going to like to see. First, I'm just going to put this here. This is stupid. I mean, in a pre internet era, it's kind of cool because this gives you a chance to learn something about the people involved in Image. But that's all it is. It's not even like a great art book. Like, you would think the least you could do if you're going to publish something like this is make it a little art book, especially for this price, $225. And hold on. What year did this come out? $1993. That's a lot of money. That's got to be pretty close to like five, maybe $6 today. That's nuts, man. Inflation is nuts. We're just going to set this aside. This isn't even a comic book. So, but it was definitely, like, out of all the things, the least interesting one I read. However, I will say I at least read it. I couldn't read this. That art, this is the same artist that did Trencher, I think, and I don't like the art in Trencher either. I can't even. It's too loosey goosey, weirdy weird for me, man. I can't even. That's all I gotta say is I can't even. It's funny because this is like got that right, and then I come down here, I've got like another Shadowhawk book. I haven't read this one yet, but if you open it up, you get the kind of art you expect. So I'm not at all enamored with this. So this is definitely there. I couldn't finish reading it. The art was too distracting. This, on the other hand, there was a lot I liked in the art. There's some great stuff, man. Look at this horse. In fact, look at all the horses in this book. They're all rendered lovingly, man. This dude, whoever Bart Ciancone is, he loved drawing horses, man. They're gorgeous. And there's a lot of other great looking stuff in here. This line work is pretty impressive. Unfortunately, most of this book is wasted on exposition. You can watch my review for more, but that's the fundamental message is there's just too much exposition here. And I thought this was going to make it above the threshold of okay into the okay zone, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized it wasn't that great. Like, I don't think it quite rises that far because so much of the book is just spent expositing at you. And exposition is kind of boring, so let's just stack this stuff up right there. And that's it. Out of all the stuff I read, which there's a lot of books, that's it for the stuff that was not that great. Well, I should be careful. This one isn't above the threshold of okay, but just barely. It's the droid's perspective of the Star Wars story. And that sounds a lot more interesting than I found it to be in practice. I don't know. There was something about the combination of the writing and the art. It just didn't really work for me. Like that pose. Like, I don't even. Uh, Ben Kenobi does not look like Ben Kenobi. I'm not even sure where he is in this book. I remember seeing it because it's like the scene where they're cleaning the droids and he's learning about Luke is learning about lightsabers. Yeah, like that does not look like Obi-Wan Kenobi to me. I'm sorry. This one's pretty Luke-like. That's not Ben Kenobi at all. That's my opinion though. So stuff like that just kind of got in the way of me enjoying it. This Eternal Warrior book is kind of interesting. There's a lot of violence in it, a lot of stuff I don't really, I'm not following the plots closely enough. And Bloodshot is all over the book. So if you're into Bloodshot, this is like the book. But it didn't do a whole lot for me. I feel like I need to just sit down and read all the Valiant books, like in an appropriate reading order, to understand what's going on in these. Because I'm reading them at just like random orders, and I know that's definitely hurting my enjoyment. Brigade. Have you read a Rob Liefeld book from the 90s? Congrats, you've read Brigade. All these books, they just all have. Man, hold on, let me flip out this gatefold. This is pretty cool, ain't it? That's pretty cool. In fact, it's a wraparound gatefold. Hold on. Let me make sure you see like the full glory of this cover. All right. Yeah, that is pretty dope. And sadly, that dopeness is probably the most dope thing in this. Is the people working on it. You can see Rob Liefeld created it, but other people did all the work. But if you've read anything that Rob Liefeld was involved with, you know exactly what you're getting into with this book. And it doesn't do anything to differentiate itself. Like, if you're going to read this, you might as well go read Youngblood #1. This Star Wars story, in fact, these next three? No, next two books are both Star Wars books, and I like them about the same. They do very different things. This one is like this hard-boiled, this probe droid is taking over a ship and trying to capture Luke. Like, this is some intense stuff, and it's great. It's a great action story, and I super dug it. This one, Vader vs. Leia, is like more social combat right up until the end, and it's pretty darn good. Look at Vader back there, lurking, being menacing. The only thing I didn't like about it is I don't think Leia really looks like Leia. That's like the only beef I had with this book, and it was actually just pretty distracting in a couple of places. Oh, actually, it was right on the other side. Like, she's just, that's not Leia, but boy, she's pretty. She's got a very cute looking nose, or at least my brain fills in the details to make that a cute nose. Maybe that says something about me. I don't know. I got this Ninja K out of the 50 cent bin. This is from when was this? This was last year's Ninja K run, and I like the violence in this. This fight scene between him and the Eternal Warrior is absolutely brutal, dude. It's absolutely brutal, and this level of violence is just like, whoa. It's absolutely like, whoa. Uh, Gilad or Gilad or whatever his name is, he's been like possessed or something, and da 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 da. It doesn't really matter. I just like the fight scene. Man, we're almost through the OKs. This was pretty good. I did a review of this one. Uh, the bunny dude is probably like the lamest part of the book. But I pretty much enjoyed this. There's some great stuff in here. People look like they're supposed to. It was a lot of fun reading this. There's some pretty crazy. I'm flipping through this, and the pages are not flipping to where I want them to flip. There's some pretty crazy action in here. Droids getting blasted. There's scheming, politicking. It turns out that the bad guy, if I can find. No, I probably shouldn't show that because that will spoil it. But then again, I am spoiling a 30-year-old story. But there's lots of great action. It's kind of like that other Star Wars book with the probe droid, but something about this one just rang a little more cool to me. I dug it. You might dig it too. This it's $1. It's $1, man. All these Star Wars books were $1. We're gonna put the Batman 100-page giant #2 up on top here. The one news story with Ivy is pretty like it's what you expect in a Poison Ivy story. Like, it's just straight up what you expect. The new story with this guy is, who is this guy? Batman needs to stop having new proteges. The reprint stuff, awesome. Well, that reprint stuff is awesome. Let me show you the Batwoman. This is not even a superhero book. This is like somebody's indie relationship book or whatever. It's yeah. The parts where she's in costume are pretty cool, but the rest not so much. And the Nightwing story, I really dug this little bit here, man. That monster is cool looking. So this is definitely like up at the top of the OKs. It's not quite awesome. The Batwoman story on its own absolutely takes you out of the book. It ruins it. It sends it way back down. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Your opinion is probably different. It must be different because they did a DC Dollar Comic reprint of that Batgirl issue prior to this. So somebody out there likes that story. I don't know who it is. All right. That's it for OK. I know, you've all been waiting for this moment. You've been waiting. Elizibar. What is going to be awesome? Well, this, for starters, Birds of Prey #1, you got Black Canary, you got Oracle. And this is up here, not necessarily because this issue is like super great. There's a lot of slowness in this issue. Like this whole sequence is just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Except she looked pretty good. But wait. Dixon, Dixon. I never saw that before until just now. But I like the back and forth between Oracle and Black Canary at the very beginning. It's a lot of fun. They're a hoot together. It's a great, pretty genuine feeling interaction, which ends with, oh, come on, where's that panel? No, that's not the one I want. Right after this. Oh, I'm sorry. It was that last bottom corner panel. She just covers up the webcam. And this is before webcams were really a thing, so that was kind of cool. Anyway, the plot here is like, some straightforward infiltration kind of stuff, seeing what the bad guys are up to. Black Canary gets to sneak around, and there's a wonderful dynamic. Barbara Gordon really came into her own as Oracle, and I miss that dynamic of her as Oracle. I think the Birds of Prey, the way it used to be, was a really great concept, a really great team, and it's all been kind of squandered. This was pretty fun. Oh yeah, the Conan True Believer reprint. This was just like super straightforward action and adventure, man. This doesn't slow down. It doesn't give you time to breathe. This is just like, you know what? We're just gonna throw monsters at this dude constantly, constantly, until all the monsters are dead or he dies. But mostly it's the monsters dying. It was a ton of fun to flip through and look at. The coloring's crazy, the art's crazy. There was maybe a little too much writing on the pages, but they're trying to cram a ton of story in to this little book. The next one is kind of weird because it's not one book. I don't think I can rate these as individual issues because that's not the way I experience them. I experience them all together in a row. And all together, this is really great, 2, 3, and 4. If I read these individually, I think I would rate them a lot lower. I realized that. I don't know if I said that on my review video, but I realized that as I was ordering my books here. I can't rate these as individuals. Because if I rated issue 2, I'd be like, this kind of stinks. If I rated issue 3, I'd be like, oh man, there's some cool action and heartfelt emotion here. And then issue 4 is like, well, this is just setup. It's like tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. So I don't think I can rate these as like individual issues, but as a group, this is pretty awesome. I wish I'd read issue 5 now. And this was definitely written for the trade. It's one of the weaknesses in modern comic books. And then we got this Star Wars True Believers reprint. I did a review on this. The interplay, the interaction between Han Solo and this Hutt, Crag, I don't remember his name. You know what? It doesn't matter what his name is. Their interactions are great. They're what really drives the book. So there's like psychological warfare kind of stuff going on there, and it's actually pretty fun. Turns out the modern Star Wars comics can have some fun. I think Marvel kind of threw some of their best talent at those books because Disney wanted them to. Dope. Well, that just leaves 3 books, so we're in the top 3 of the week. I really like this issue of Savage Avengers. The previous one, not so much. This one I did, just because they let Conan gets to show absolute disdain for Doom and Doctor Strange, and that's awesome. And then, God, there's some nice looking art in here from Patrick Zurcher. And then Conan just straight up murders a bunch of Cooling Goths guards, and it's awesome. Just that, like, this feels like the way the comic book should be, but it's weird because Savage Avengers doesn't have any Avengers in it. Well, it has Strange in it, but he's not like when you think of the Avengers. He's not like one of the core people you think of. So there is no Avengers in Savage Avengers. That's weird. Why they didn't just call this like Conan Modern Adventures or something, I don't know. But that's number 3 for the week. That ended up a lot higher than I expected it to, but I was like shuffling my books around. Which ones did I enjoy reading more? Which ones did I enjoy reading more? And that's where it ended up falling. Just above it, this Crisis reprint. Yeah, for real. It's a great issue, but I think you have to know all the story before this part for it to really, really like provide some uh, punch for you. And the best part of it is definitely this stuff here on Quard, where the Flash is dealing with Psycho Pirate and the Anti-Monitor and all that. And otherwise, there's a lot of frou-frou stuff that you just won't really care about because it's just kind of like fluff in isolation. But this stuff, I think anybody can kind of get down with. The Flash has to go stop a crazy super weapon from existing. And that's what he does. And it's pretty awesome. So it turns out I really dug it. I dug it more than I thought I did when I read it, which is kind of a weird feeling. But none of this comes close. The Soul Finder, Demon's Match. This book, written by Doug Ernst, art from Timothy Lim, colors by Brett R. Smith. Boom! It's absolutely fantastic. Uh, all the way around. There's like some real, like creepy stuff in it. You know, befitting like what's going on there. There's some really beautiful art. You know, let's just, huh? Yeah, a little busty. But there's definitely some great art. There's also some pretty like graphic and macabre stuff in here. Timothy Lim's art keeps evolving, and it just keeps getting better. And I don't really want to show you more of this book because you should go watch my review if you want to learn more. But it was absolutely fantastic. The writing is tight. The art is tight. Everything is great. It's got a great pace. It's got a great premise. The main character struggles. He struggles with himself, his own past. He struggles with the obstacles placed in front of him. That's what you're supposed to do in a story. You're supposed to struggle. You're supposed to meet adversity, overcome it, and grow as a person, grow as a character. And the main character does that. Soul Finder is definitely the #1 book I read this week. It was an Indiegogo campaign. If you reach out, like on Twitter, to Timothy Lim or Douglas Ernst, they might still have a copy for you if you're interested in checking it out. I feel like I read something else, but I can't find it, so we'll just have to live with that mystery. You all have a great day, great night, great whatever you got going on. Let me just kind of recap the top 3 here, which, like I said, 2 of these kind of surprised me with how highly they placed. I did not expect these 2 books to be in positions number 3 and number 2. I really didn't. But that's how the cookie crumbled. You all have a great day. Did I already say that? I might have said that already, but you have a great day anyway. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I sure hope to see you again next time. I got a squeaky chair, by the way. You hear that? Maybe you can't. I sure hope you can't, because it squeaks a lot. It's an old chair. Bye-bye. Wow, random tangent there. Absolutely random tangent.